Hi, I'm Chris Lewis, firefighter for the Lakeville Fire Department. Welcome to another edition of On Call. The goal of this program is to educate and inform citizens of Lakeville about how Lakeville's all-volunteer fire department trains and responds to emergencies. Let's take a look at what's coming up on this edition of On Call. We start things off with a look at the annual LFD Fire Prevention Open House. Next, I will talk with some professionals about carbon monoxide and what you should know about this silent killer. Fire Chief Mike Meyer will inform us about first responder refresher training with staff from Alina. Then I will bring you all the latest news and happenings around LFD. We answer another viewer's question in Ask the Firefighter, and we'll wrap things up with Scratch the Fire Dog as he explores the open house and finds out what it has to offer. Today we are at the annual Lakeville Fire Department Open House. It is a way for residents to learn about fire prevention, get an up-close look at equipment, and see how LFD operates. Every day, LFD firefighters respond to a variety of calls. One type of call we see more in the fall and winter deals with carbon monoxide gas. CO is a colorless and odorless compound produced by an incomplete combustion. It is often referred to as the silent killer because it is virtually undetectable without using detection technology. Joining me now is Jay O'Connell. He's the fire inspector for Lakeville Fire Department. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
How you doing, Chris?
Not too bad. We're out here at the open house tonight for Fire Prevention Week.
Yep.
We're talking about fire prevention and we're educating the community. In addition to that, we're going to talk about carbon monoxide alarms.
Yeah, it's a very good time to do this because we're coming into the winter heating months, Chris. And there's a law in Minnesota that everybody needs to have a carbon monoxide detector. In the law, it states that you need to be within 10 feet of the bedroom. So normally you'd want this out in the hallway, closer to mom and dad's bedroom. Carbon monoxide detector, but I like the ones with the digital readout on them. If this is reading 0, that's a good number. If this is reading 50, it's going to go into alert mode and it's going to sound just different from a smoke detector, but to alert you to get out of the house. Carbon monoxide is happening because of incomplete burning. We've had a few calls here in Lakeville where the water heater just decides to go bad one day. And you don't see it because it's colorless, odorless gas. If you don't have this detector, you're not gonna know what's happening to you. You're just gonna feel sluggish, like you got the flu or something. So that's why the state came out and put this law into place. Now these detectors are only good for 5 years. So if you look on the back, there is a birth date on these. Is what I tell children. These are have a birthday and they're only good for 5 years. So if you pull it off the wall, if mom and dad bought this when you were a baby and now you're 5 years old, they need to replace it.
Okay, so are there other kinds of detectors besides ones like this where we plug in with the digital readout?
Yeah, this was Nighthawk. This was one of the first and very most common ones. Great detector. It's got a peak level button, so the fire department can come in, push the button, and see what the highest level was on the detector. Because as soon as you open the door, you introduce fresh air, the carbon monoxide is going to go down. So we usually work in conjunction with the gas company to come out on scene and take readings because they can go right along a pipe and find a pinhole. Whereas the meters that the fire department has, we just know enough to get out and start ventilating and wait for the gas company to come in.
Okay, so what are some symptoms or things that people might notice if they're
feeling like you got the flu? Your fingernails might turn red. You're just dragging. So it's really hard to tell. That's why the law came into effect, so we can get these into the house. There are combo models. Some newer houses that it's built right into the ceiling. So it's a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector. But if it's a combo, then it has to talk and tell you carbon monoxide, or smoke alarm, smoke present. So you can differentiate the two. I like having one that's plugged in down in the bottom out in the hallway. It's in a different location that, so you're walking out towards the hallway, you know it's that one, you don't know it's a smoke alarm. Because at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be hard to tell the difference.
Okay, but there are some CO alarms that
go into the ceiling.
Yeah,
yep, it looks like a smoke detector. Yep, they're now calling them smoke alarms. But yes, they are integrated when you build a new house.
Okay.
It won't be a combo in the bedroom, but it'll most likely be a combo in the hallway.
So you said there were requirements. Are we talking about like there's one within 10 feet of every bedroom?
So if you have a 2-story house and you have a bedroom in the basement and one upstairs, you want one 10 feet from the bedrooms upstairs. You need a second one down in the basement because you have a separate bedroom down there. And the key with the 10 feet is so that you hear the alarm. When it sounds, you hear the alarm, you wake up, you go outside.
Okay, and then you said they also 5 years is their max, and that's
5 years is the max, yep.
Okay, now a big problem that we have when we respond to calls for CO alarms is that we'll go into a house after people have evacuated and we won't find anything. Is there a reason why?
Yep. When people open the windows, they're introducing fresh air into the house.
Okay. Sometimes
that helps the appliance that was having trouble burning. Maybe it wasn't getting enough oxygen to help the burn. Like on a stove, if you're looking at a stove and you see the flame coming up with the blue, that's a good burn. Once you start having the yellow fingers coming up, then you're getting a little more of an incomplete burn.
Okay.
So the blue is the best that you can have when you have a gas stove, that bluish color coming out the bottom.
Okay, I mean, there could be things like bad batteries on a CO.
Bad batteries. Have you been on one where we get 67 as the reading?
Yep.
If you flip it over, LB looks like 67. We had somebody plug it in and it was upside down. It looks like 67 for a reading, but it's LB, low battery.
I mean,
so these have the battery in the back.
Okay.
Just like a smoke alarm. Just a 9-volt battery. And you do need to change those. Good time to change these is when you change your clocks.
Every 6 months?
Yep, every 6 months is a good time. The battery is in there for mainly when you have a power outage. So if you don't have a lot of power outages, your battery could last a whole year.
Okay.
But if you have a lot of power outages, it's best to do every 6 months. That way you have a time, the last time you changed it was when we changed the clocks.
And one more thing that if their CO alarms are going off and they get out, should they open all their windows and doors? Or, I mean, I know that causes
If you're looking at the reading, if your reading is in the 50s, it's really not that bad. So just getting out would be better. The fire department can come in, we can find it a little bit easier. If you open up all the windows, it's going to be hard to pinpoint where the gas is having your problem. So.
Okay, yeah, I noticed that's a problem we have is they'll open up all their windows and doors and then we won't be able to find the problem because.
But if you've got a reading at 300, you're getting into an explosive area, and what you need to do is get out. Because if you're going to take the time to open all the windows, you might spark it. The telephone might go off when you're doing that. You might inadvertently turn a light switch on and trigger a little spark, and now you got an explosion. So best to get out as fast as you can. Call the fire department, we'll come out with our meter and take a look at what we got, and then we can call the gas company in to assist.
All right, fantastic. Anything else you can think of, Jay?
No, just check with Grandma and Grandpa. If yours is out of date, Grandma and Grandpa's is probably out of date. So, and whenever you go to visit Grandma and Grandpa, you're going to be in their house sleeping. You want to make sure that they have a current detector.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the open house here today. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Welcome to another edition of Chief's Corner. I'm here with Patty McCulley from Alina. We're going to talk about medical training that the firefighters have to go through on an annual basis. Patty, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Can you tell us a little bit about the training that the firefighters have to go through on an annual basis just to maintain their certification?
Sure. All of the firefighters here, as you know, are trained as first responders through the state of Minnesota. So that means that after their initial certification of 40 hours of training, every 2 years they need to go through 16 hours of refresher training. Tonight we are in the classroom with the firefighters. A group of them will be going through actually CPR tonight.
Beyond CPR, what other training do they have to go through as far as, this is one course, but how many do they have to go through on a yearly basis?
Well, they go twice a year,
Okay.
and it'll be 4 hours each night that they go, but they usually go once in the spring and once in the fall. And
Okay.
then in that 2 years, that encompasses that 16 hours they need. They go through a variety of training. It can be everything from managing airways or how to handle a patient with shortness of breath. Maybe what you do with someone with chest pain, CPR procedures, medical emergencies, trauma scenarios, the list goes on. But what it does is just prepare them to be able to really not only take care of a patient until the paramedics get there, but then also, if they need to ride with the paramedics to the hospital to continue that care. That gives our patients the best level of care because they're not just having a paramedic with them. We can also have extra hands to help us too.
Right, and that's one of the unique things that we have as far as with Alina here is that we have a great partnership with you. You provide us training and we're there to help you out if you need a firefighter to ride with the hospital, like you said. But we get to know each other and we can work better on the scenes, on emergency scenes with each other.
Exactly. Yeah,
Excellent.
it works out really, really well.
Excellent. Should we cover some of the things that we have here on the table for CPR?
Sure. The first one is an AED.
Yep.
If you've heard of these before, they're the automated external defibrillators.
Okay.
They're not only carried in ambulances, but they're also in squad cars. They're also in fire trucks. And we're really encouraging a lot of businesses to look at purchasing them as well. When we have a heart patient, there's really kind of two different patients we look at. The first one is the one that's actually having a heart attack, and this person is having chest pain and shortness of breath, and they really need to get help to them right away and get to the hospital so that they can take care of that issue. One person that our patient that we really get concerned about and we're really trying to spread the word about is an incident called sudden cardiac arrest. And this is when someone's sitting there talking to you and all of a sudden they just collapse and go to the floor. There's no chest pain and shortness of breath. There's all of a sudden no pulse and no breathing. Immediate CPR and most often immediate defibrillation is what's really needed to help make that a viable surviving patient. So what we do is look at using an AED and just encouraging many, many people to get familiar with how to use them. They're very user-friendly. I can show you how. Do you want to take a look?
I think we like to call that like a KISS method, that they're firefighter-proof. Anybody can operate one of these.
They're paramedic-proof too. So this is a trainer module. So I'm going to do a couple of different things that you would normally do. You wouldn't do with a regular one. But primarily, all you need to do is actually turn the machine on. Now this one has a button that will just turn it on.
Call for help now.
So it's encouraging you to call 911.
Clothing from patient's chest.
And to remove the clothes from the patient's chest.
Yep.
In order to use these pads, you actually have to have contact with bare skin.
Yep.
So we open that little envelope
Handle to open bag.
and we look at the pictures on the pad. It shows us exactly where
Look
the
at
pads
pictures on
need to
pad.
go on the patient's chest.
Yep.
Peel
So
one
do you
bag
want to go ahead and put those on?
Sure, I can do that.
Apply pad to bare skin, exactly as shown in the picture. Press pad firmly. Peel other pad
I already made a
off
mistake,
blue
so we'll
plastic.
correct it.
Apply pad to bare skin, exactly as shown in the picture.
The nice thing about this
Press pad
machine,
firmly.
it will never go ahead. So if it's chaotic and you're
Remove
not
all
moving
clothing
fast
from
enough,
patient's chest.
it'll continue to repeat the procedure you need to do before
Okay.
it moves on. Now, because this is a trainer, I have a little handy-dandy remote here to set the machine off, but I'll show you how it
Pull right
works.
handle to open bag.
So-
Do not touch patient.
So normally in a real AED,
evaluating
it's going to recognize that the
heart rhythm.
pads are on and it's going to start this process.
Exactly. You won't have that remote like I
Stand
do.
by. Preparing for shock.
So it wants everyone clear of the patient,
Everyone clear. Press flashing button.
so you can push that button.
So make sure nobody's touching the patient before I push it.
Yep.
Shock delivered. Provide chest compressions and rescue breaths.
So now it's telling you to start CPR. And that's just really how simple it is to use. There's many different versions of AEDs out there. There's Zoll and Cardiac Science and Philips, but the concept is all the same. All you have to do is turn the machine on and do everything it tells you to do, and you'll be fine. It's very, very user-friendly.
How about this piece of equipment here?
Oh, this is one that the firefighters really like, and the paramedics do as well. This is actually called a Lucas machine, and it's an automatic CPR machine. So instead of having a firefighter or a paramedic or even a police officer physically doing chest compressions, we can actually put the Lucas machine on a patient and actually turn it on, and it will take over for doing chest compressions. It's run on an air tank, as you can see, but these are carried on the Alina ambulances in the ALF area. So normally when the paramedics arrive, it'll be either the firefighters or the police officers that will grab the Lucas, hook it up, and then actually whoever's doing CPR can then stop. They put the Lucas on, and then it gets initiated for that patient.
It frees up hands and allows us to help you do whatever else that needs to be done at the scene as far as getting the medication route set up for you, the IV bags and stuff like that, or getting ready to move the patient from the home to the ambulance.
Exactly. And the other thing about it too is it's great because CPR is really physically exhausting work, and normally if we do not have a Lucas with us, we normally will change out firefighters or whoever's doing CPR every 2 minutes, because after that 2 minutes, whether you're noticing it or not, you're starting to get a little bit more tired, so your compressions aren't as deep and effective, and you sometimes kind of lose that rate because you need to compress at least 2 inches and over 100 times a minute. So that's a lot of work. And if the machine can do it, that's even better yet. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of set up on it, and should we start it up so they can kind of see at home what it's going to sound like? We've set it up on a mannequin. Obviously, we wouldn't do this to anybody that's alive because that's not what it's meant for. But
yeah, if you want to go ahead and turn it on, it's a little bit loud, so it's probably good for people to hear it now in case they ever hear it, it won't make them afraid of hearing it. But it just consistently will compress the chest, just as if we had someone there doing CPR.
And obviously when this is on, we've got either the AED or the paramedics are going to have their heart monitor hooked up to them, so they're going to be watching the rhythm, and they'll stop it occasionally to check and find out if we're getting effective CPR or something has changed.
Correct. Yeah, that's the nice features of this machine is you can stop it, do different things with the patient that you need to, and then just restart it, and it just, again, driven by that air tank, will continue to do the compressions every time you need it to.
Is there any figures out as far as, since you've started using this as Alina, as far as the save rates, have they increased with this, or it's really benefited us as far as manpower or labor intensive on the scene? It's helped us free up people, but statistically, has this benefited the patients as far as that have received this type of treatment?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to judge. We know that between using the Lucas and the rescue pod device that we use on the airway system when we're ventilating a patient, we found that, you know, statistically, nationally, the survival rate of these patients is about 5%. In Minnesota, it's around 8 or 9, but ironically, in the ALF area, we're actually getting closer up to 15 to 19%. And the reason that we feel that we're doing that is because of this type of equipment that we're using, the rescue pod and the Lucas, and we're really encouraging the general public to learn CPR and then also how to use the AED. From September of last year to actual today's date, we have had 8 patients in the Apple Valley, Lakeville, and Farmington area that have actually survived a sudden cardiac arrest, which means that they've walked out of the hospital, they're neurologically intact, and they have fully survived that incident. So if you can say that about one person, it's phenomenal, but to be able to say it for 8 of them in this area is is phenomenal.
That's great. As far as like kind of stepping back to the AED though, it's time critical to get that on somebody that suffered a cardiac, sudden cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
So is there like a graph or a timeline as far as the quicker that gets on somebody, the better their survivability rates?
You know, usually if you get to a patient with chest compressions and an AED within the first 2 to 4 minutes, that really increases their chances of survival. The most important thing is to really, first of all, recognize what's happening. So if someone collapses and they go to the floor and you shake and you shout and there's no response, then actually make sure someone is calling 911 and someone else is getting an AED if there's one available. Then go to the patient, start CPR right away, and as soon as that AED gets there, have someone apply it, and then go ahead and use that as well. Again, if you can do that within that first 2 to 4 minutes, the patient's chances are extremely high. Not everyone survives sudden cardiac arrest, we know that. But again, we want to give them the best chance that we can.
All righty, I think that wraps it up. That was some great information, not only for our viewers, but for the firefighters and what they're going through twice a year on training as far as the medical side of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully people realize that, you know, the firefighters aren't just doing firefighter training, we're also trained on the medical side of things to help Alina at the scene, or if you guys are delayed as far as we can get some places faster than you, that we're there providing that care that the patients do need.
They're a huge help. So yes, we like to have them on the scene with us, and knowing that they have all of this training behind them just helps our patients that much more.
Excellent.
Could one of these people start a deadly fire? Careless smoking is the #1 cause of fire fatalities. However, most fires are preventable. So, will one of these people start a deadly fire? It's up to them. You can protect your family and your home from fire. Visit GetYourButtOutside.com. Brought to you by the Minnesota State Fire Chiefs Association and the Minnesota Fair Plan.
Now it's time to highlight some recent news around the fire department. Earlier in the show, we covered what an AED does and how it can save a life. That message really has meaning here at LFD, as Fire Marshal Brian Carstensen suffered a sudden cardiac arrest this past September while running on a treadmill at Lifetime Fitness in Lakeville. Luckily, employees saw him and knew what was happening to him. They grabbed an AED that was located in the building and shocked him, saving his life. After a few weeks off, Brian returned to work at LFD. Everyone here at the fire department would like to say a big thank you, not only to the people that saved Brian's life, but also to Lifetime Fitness for being proactive on placing an AED in their facility. 3 firefighters at LFD were promoted to lieutenant within the organization: Brian Cluck at Station 1, Chad Ubel at Station 3, and Steve Galinsky at Station 4. Their accomplishment was recognized at a city council meeting this past October, where they took the oath of office for their new responsibilities. Congratulations to Brian, Chad, and Steve in becoming LFD's newest lieutenants. Firefighter Greg Stomas was awarded the Police Chief's Award of Merit for his actions this past summer. Greg was off duty when he noticed smoke coming from a car that had been in a one-vehicle accident. Along with others at the scene, they pulled the victim out. Finding no pulse or signs of life, they immediately began administering CPR before the arrival of any emergency personnel on the scene. Without these individuals and their saving efforts, this likely would have been a fatality. Special thanks goes out to Greg and the others that helped save this individual's life. Here's an overview of the third quarter statistics. As you can see, incident numbers are up for the quarter, and here's a breakdown of call types. The department's goal is to distribute call volume evenly between each station. Now let's highlight some of the major incidents that has involved the Lakeville Fire Department. On Tuesday, September 13th, the fire department was dispatched to a possible house fire at 20744 Hurley Avenue. When firefighters arrived, heavy smoke could be seen coming from the various parts of the house. Crews made entry into the home to extinguish the fire that was in the kitchen. The homeowners were not home at the time of the fire, although 2 dogs were in the home at the time, and they did survive. On Thursday evening, September 15th, the Lakeville Fire Department was dispatched to a possible house fire at 17362 Goodhue Avenue. Lakeville Fire Department arrived on scene to find heavy smoke and fire coming from the backside of the home. Crews made entry into the home to extinguish the fire that was on the deck and in the attic space of the kitchen and master bedroom areas. One family member was home at the time and had exited the home when the fire was discovered and called 911. On Thursday afternoon, September 22nd, the Lakeville Fire Department was dispatched to a possible fire in an aircraft hangar at Air Lake Airport. Lakeville Fire Department arrived on scene to find smoke and fire coming from a wall inside the hangar. Crews made entry into the hangar from the service door to find fire in a wall. The two occupants of the hangar had evacuated and provided directions to the fire crews of where they had seen the fire. There were no injuries to report. The fire was extinguished, but the hangar suffered damage to the interior and exterior walls. And finally, LFD reminds residents that when we turn our clocks back this fall, it's also a good time to replace the batteries in your smoke and CO detectors. Changing smoke alarm batteries at least once a year is one of the simplest ways to reduce tragic deaths. In fact, working smoke alarms nearly cut in half the risk of dying in a home fire. And don't forget that you should test your detectors monthly. And that's the latest news happening around LFD.
Hi, this is firefighter Skylar Hansen with Lakeville Station 3, and this month's Ask the Firefighter question comes to us from Tanya in St. Paul. Tanya wants to know, I've heard there are several different types of fires in the home. Are there also several different types of fire extinguishers? Should I have more than one around my home? That's a great question, Tanya. Yes, there are many different types of fires in your home, and there are many different types of fire extinguishers you can use. However, they do make one that should cover most of the fires you might find in your home. Tanya, there's an acronym for the different types of fires in the home and elsewhere. They're generally categorized under Class A, B, or C fires. Class A fires are your ordinary combustibles such as wood, cloth, and paper. Class B fires involve flammable liquids such as gasoline, oil, paints, and solvents. And Class C fires involve energized electrical equipment such as power tools, wiring, fuse boxes, computers, TVs, and electric motors. Tanya, this is one of the extinguishers I was mentioning before that will cover most of your different types of fires in your home. This is a Class A, B, and C extinguisher. It's general purpose. And this is a common size to find in the home. This is a 5-pound size extinguisher. The one thing you do want to make sure of is that you periodically check this gauge right here to make sure it's charged appropriately. If it's not charged, have it looked at a hardware store or take it to your local fire department. One common question is, where should I store a fire extinguisher in my home? There are two primary places we believe you should have them. You should mount the extinguisher under your sink. Make sure it is mounted under there and not just set freely in there. Otherwise, the tendency may be to have it pushed back to the back of that space over time. You don't want to be fumbling through anything while you're trying to deal with an emergency. Another common place to have a fire extinguisher is in a front hall closet. This is a great location because in the event you realize the fire is too large for you to fight yourself and you have to call the fire department, you're right by an emergency exit and you can get out the door. Tanya, one thing to remember is that you want to keep calm if you ever have to use an extinguisher in an emergency, and try to remember the acronym PASS. PASS stands for pull. You want to pull the pin that unlocks the operating lever. Aim, pointing the extinguisher nozzle or hose at the base of the fire. Squeeze, you want to squeeze the lever above the handle to discharge the extinguishing agent. And sweep. Sweep the nozzle or hose from side to side. Tanya, thanks so much for your question. If you have a question for Ask the Firefighter, please send it to the address on your screen.
Scratch the fire dog, cause I like to scratch out of the fires. I'm here at my favorite event here in Lakeville. It is the annual Fire fire department open house. Yoo-hoo-hoo. Hey, it's better than Christmas. It's better than the 4th of July. It's even better than my birthday. So let's head around, see what cool stuff is here, and woo-hoo-hoo, enjoy the fire department open house. This way. Oh boy, this is my favorite part of the open house. I get to watch myself on TV. Hey, you guys, do you think it's cool watching me on TV? I think the jury's out on it. Ah, look at that, another favorite part of the open house here. Hey, you guys, at the count of 3, tell me what this drink is, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Root beer.
I love a root beer. Hey, if there's any left, could I have some, please? All right. Oh, you know what? I don't want to mess up my mustache. I'll come back later. I'm gonna have all the leftovers. Save me some! Oh no! Can you believe it? Look at what's on this table. Stacks and stacks of firefighter hats. Oh, pardon me, firefighter. Could I have a hat, please? Oh, good. Oh, put the strap under there. Ta-da! Look at me. I'm a I think I got to get my hat on straight. Oh boy. Oh, did you get a cool balloon? Oh, it's very neat. Hey, what did you get tonight? Oh, cool balloon. Did you get the ruler too? Oh, what is that? What's that stretchy thing in your hand? Is it a coaster?
No.
Is it a mask?
It's a
Oh, funny. Whoa, ho, ho. Wow, look at this, another cool part of the open house. I can get t-shirts, I can get the sweatshirts, and hey, are you selling that fire hydrant?
No, I'm not selling the fire extinguisher. I'm just showing how to use it. Do you know how to use the fire extinguisher?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go see a demonstration, but I'm having trouble with my hat. Could you help me?
How's that?
A little farther. A little more. More. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to see pretty soon.
I can't see now. See you later. Oh, pardon me. Oh. Okay, everyone, what's going on here? It's a balloon bust. What's going on here? Hey, it's some of the people from the fire department and some of the people that work at the fire department. Hey, I think that's a Terry in the back, and she's eating a balloon. Terry, don't eat the balloon. There's that food that's out front, and there's Tori. Hey, how many balloons have you guys blown up today? A lot, like 2 or 3? Hundreds. Hey, they are going all out here. They have done hundreds of balloons. Hey, nice job. If only I could get my hat fixed. My hat fixed. How are you? Hey, it's me, Scratch the Fire Dog, and hey, look at me.
Hey, we have the same shirt.
Yeah, I got an old hand-me-down ratty one. Yeah, hey, are you enjoying the fire department open house tonight?
Burning a car outside. It was so cool. This is such a great fire prevention week. What a great turnout we have tonight. Great weather.
It's fun, and I get to check out all the hydrants. Hey, one of the exciting things they do here at the open house is they do a car extrication. Oh, it's very cool. Let's watch. Yeah.
On our residential streets, that means pulling over and stopping.
Hey, this is pretty cool stuff, isn't it?
Response,
cool. Yeah.
And our paramedics to the
Yeah, I'm excited for all the fire hydrants around here. Yeah, very neat.
No fire hydrants here.
There isn't?
No, not right here.
Oh, excuse me, I gotta go
On the
there.
other side of the building.
Okay, thank you, I gotta go over there. And now one of my favorite things here at the open house is the smokehouse. Oh, and here's a young man coming down from the smokehouse, and he's doing it very safely. Inside the smokehouse, you can pretend that there's a fire, and you can learn how to safely escape from a fire. Oh, this is so great and so much good information. This way. I am now joined by an unexpected guest. Hey, it's Chris Kringle. How you doing, Chris?
No, actually, it's Yukon Cornelius. No, it's Officer Stevens from the Lakeville Police Department. How are you, Officer Stevens?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good. And what brings you here to the fire department open house?
Well, the fire department open house is our chance to bring out the squad car and let everybody take a look. Get to hand out some stickers, answer some questions that people might have.
Stickers? I'd like a sticker.
You want a sticker?
Yeah, you got it handy?
Let me get you a sticker.
Ooh, I got a sticker. Give me a sticker. Give me a sticker, please. Boy, you sure are slow. There's a huge line waiting behind me. No, there isn't. Right on the nose, man.
There you go. Junior police officer.
I love it. Thank you, Officer Stevens.
And thank you for coming.
Oh, you bet. Bye-bye. Whoa! And here's my favorite part, where the kids and us, we get to squirt the hose. Hey, you having fun squirting the hose? Hey, it's a great fun. Oh, better keep an eye on what you're doing so it doesn't blow you away. Scratch the fire dog is so tired. I saw many cool and exciting things at this year's fire department open house, but this dog is dog tired. Well, so until next time, everyone, this is a Scratch of the Fire Dog, because I like to scratch out the fires. We'll see you next time here on the Kids Corner on the LFD Fun Call Fire Show. Good night.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of On Call. If you have questions, comments, an idea for the program, or want to send a question in for Ask the Firefighter, feel free to call us at 952-985-4700 or use the email address on the screen and send us an email. Thanks for joining us, and all fire units are clear.
All employees at your municipal liquor store have been trained to recognize fake IDs, and when caught with one, the police will get involved. This message provided by your local municipal liquor store.